My mom made a lucky tea for my 9-year-old daughter before every competition. "Drink it, sweetheart. It's good for you," she said warmly. Then she accidentally drank it herself. What happened next changed everything. I didn't know it then. Back then it was just another school dance competition. Glitter, loud pop songs, parents pretending to breathe. Not the start of a family crime story. It was called Road to the Stars. One girl from each school would move on to the city finals. Everyone already knew it had come down to 2 kids, my daughter Chloe and my niece Lily, my sister Emily's daughter. I was calm about it. 9 years old, sparkly costumes, applause, ribbons. Big deal. My mom and Emily, not so calm, apparently. Mom showed up early, like always, carrying 2 identical thermoses. "I made them lucky tea," she said, setting them down like holy relics. "Chamomile and honey." For focus. That was her ritual. She swore it brought good energy. No one argued. Easier to drink it than hurt her feelings. I was helping Chloe with her costume while Emily fluttered around Lily like a stage mom on caffeine. Mom floated between us, fixing hairpins, whispering tips, micromanaging 9-year-olds. Usual chaos. Kids running, the coach yelling, sequins everywhere. "This one's for Lily, this one's for Chloe," Mom said, like she was distributing sacred wine. Then Emily called her over to fix a bow. Mom set the thermoses on the bench and walked off. I shifted some things to make room. Didn't even realize I'd swapped them. Just a tiny, meaningless movement in the noise of backstage life. Mom came back, picked one up, and poured Chloe a cup. "Drink it, sweetheart. It's good for you," she said. Her hands were shaking. Her face looked pale. "Mom, you're the one who needs it." "You're more nervous than she is," I joked. She froze. For a second. Her eyes flicked to mine. Sharp, almost startled. Emily looked over too, worried. "You're right," Mom finally said. "Why not?" But instead of the closer thermos, she reached for the one further away, slowly, like she was choosing fruit at the market. She poured a little into the lid and drank it down. A few minutes later, she sat back on the bench, greenish and sweating. "Mom, you okay?" "Just dizzy," she whispered, trying to stand, but her knees gave out. Then the usual chorus. "Water! Get the nurse!" Emily already had her phone out. "I'm calling an ambulance." While I held Mom by the shoulders, she kept mumbling, "Don't scare the girls." 5 minutes later, paramedics were strapping her onto a stretcher. "I'll go with her," Emily said, grabbing her bag. "You stay with the kids." Neither of the girls ever drank that tea. There wasn't time. When the ambulance pulled away, I stood in the hallway with 2 little girls in sequins who suddenly looked very small. "Grandma will be fine," I told them. "Go dance." Everything's okay. The show went on. Music, applause, life pretending to be normal. I barely saw the stage. I kept thinking maybe it was her blood pressure, her heart, God forbid a stroke. The fact that she'd just drunk something before collapsing didn't even register. Both girls danced well. Chloe was radiant. She won. I was proud, plain and simple. Not smug, not finally, just proud of my kid. The crowd clapped, Chloe grinned, and I kept thinking, I can't wait to tell Mom. You should have seen her. After the competition, I called Emily, told her Chloe had won. She paused, then said a flat, "Congratulations." I asked how Mom was, if I should come to the hospital. "No need," Emily said. "It was just her blood pressure." "She's fine." Resting. So I took both girls home. The 2 thermoses were still in my bag, buried under costumes and ribbons. I had no idea that one of them held the evidence that would rewrite our entire family history. Emily came for Lily late that night. She looked exhausted. "How's Mom?" I asked. "Blood pressure," she said quickly. "She got worked up. They're keeping her for observation, maybe 2 days." She spoke fast, eyes on the floor. I didn't push. Pressing Emily never got you anything but attitude. And you? I asked. I'm fine, she said, biting her lip. Thanks for taking Lily. I offered her tea. She refused. Stood there awkwardly, like she'd forgotten why she came. Her eyes landed on the 2 thermoses still sitting on the table. She ran her fingers over one, traced the lid. Maybe I should take them, she said without looking at me. Give them back to Mom. The girls didn't drink her magic tea this time, right? She sounded almost sentimental, like she felt sorry for Mom, so eager to help and ending up in the hospital herself. That's exactly how I took it. No need, I said. I'll handle it. And no, they didn't. She nodded, but didn't move. Stood another second, staring at the thermoses, then gave a quick, nervous glance at me, called Lily, and left. The next day I went to the hospital. Mom was pale but alive. Hey, I said. How are you feeling? Better, she smiled, too brightly. Just blood pressure, you know. Age. She kept her eyes a little off mine, fingers fussing with the blanket like they were searching for something to hold. Doctors say I'll be home soon, she added. I just overreacted. I nodded. Her smile was too tight. Her voice stretched thin. In childhood, whenever she lied, she'd squint like the light bothered her. Why is she acting so strange? I thought. Then, worse. Maybe it's serious, and they're hiding it from me. I'll talk to the doctor, okay? Why? She snapped, head jerking up. I just want to know what's going on. Everything's fine, Anna. Don't start drama right. In our family, everything's always fine. The doctor was young, polite, the kind who can say terrible things in a calm voice. Your mother's stable, he said, eyes on the monitor instead of me. No danger now. But her reaction was unusual. Looks like intoxication, but we don't know from what. Do you know what she ate or drank before it happened? She had her herbal tea, I said. Homemade. He nodded. Could you bring a sample? We'll run a tox screen. Takes a couple of days, but we'll rule things out. I stood up, gripping my bag with both hands like it could hold the whole world steady. Of course, I said, though my head was buzzing. Then a thought hit. Terrible. Obvious. Doctor, what if a child had drunk that tea? My daughter. She's 9. He stopped typing. A child? Yes. That tea was meant for her. My mom made it for both girls. Then please bring it in, he said, voice suddenly firm. If there are active extracts, a child could get very sick. How sick? Anywhere from extreme drowsiness to loss of consciousness, sometimes breathing, sometimes cardiac issues. We see cases like that, but that's just in general, he added quickly. Bring the sample. We'll check everything. You'll get the results as her mother. They'll tell me? Yes. We'll call you as soon as it's ready. I thanked him and walked out, knees weak. The lucky tea was no longer a family ritual. It was evidence, sealed in stainless steel. When I stopped by Mom's room again, she pretended to read a newspaper. Everything okay? She asked. Yeah, I said. Doctor says you got off easy. See? She smiled. You worry too much. I looked at her and thought, it can't be. This is just a ridiculous coincidence. They won't find anything. There's no way Mom would ever hurt her own granddaughter. That same day, I took both thermoses to the hospital lab. Beforehand, I examined them as best I could. One smelled of herbs, honey, and something medicinal. The next 2 days, I drifted around the house like a sleepwalker. I kept thinking, if Chloe had actually drunk what her grandmother handed her. At night, I'd listen to my daughter breathe and catch myself flinching at the smell of honey. On the second day, I cracked. Drove to Mom's house under the pretext of checking the mail, watering her plants. The house was silent, sealed tight. The kitchen smelled of medicine. Jars lined the shelf. For the heart. For sleep. For nerves. The whole pharmacy of the world, just without instructions. Among them, One jar with no label, and beside it, a small notebook in a soft cover. I opened it. Lists of herbs, numbers, pencil notes. Morning, 2 drops. Evening, 1. H. Half dose. No names, just letters. Still, that single H was enough to make my stomach drop. It couldn't mean Chloe, could it? My hands acted on their own. Pulled out my phone, snapped the pages, not even sure why. Just in case I ever needed to remember what I'd seen. Click, click. The notebook went back exactly where it had been, like I'd never touched it. Back then, I still told myself it was just Grandma being obsessively organized, her little system, not what it really was. When the doctor finally called, I didn't even recognize his voice at first. "We got the results," he said. "The drink contained a sedative in a concentration that's unsafe for children. Even for an adult, especially one on medication, it could cause a strong reaction." He spoke calmly, but my hands went ice cold. "And if a 9-year-old had drunk it?" I asked. "There would have been serious complications. Best case, loss of consciousness. Worst case..." He stopped. "Let's just say, it's a good thing we're talking in the past tense. We'll send you the report." I thanked him and hung up. The kitchen hummed with silence. Chloe was watching cartoons, laughing, and I just stood there, staring at my phone, realizing the word Mom would never sound the same again. My head was a mess. Only late that night, after Chloe fell asleep, I sat in the kitchen and tried to line up my thoughts, make some kind of sense of it all. Mom used to bake pies, make compots, repeat that family is everything. Meanwhile, she spent her whole life sorting people into the gifted and the reliable. Emily was promising I was steady like weather. No storms, but no sun either. I'd helped them both a lot. Added to Mom's pension, paid her insurance and property taxes. When Emily's car suddenly broke down, I covered that too. Nothing heroic, just what you do when you have a solid job. I'm an architect. I'd send them money, buy what they needed, and forget about it. Mom treated it like her due. Emily pretended not to notice. I didn't even want to think it, but the thought wouldn't go away. It was possible. She could have done it. She could have slipped something into my daughter's tea so Lily could win. We were both divorced, but I could afford to put Chloe in a real dance studio. Costumes, lessons, competitions, all expensive. Lily danced in the free after-school group. The difference hung in the air. Mom sighed about it constantly. "You should think about how much this costs. You waste money on sequins instead of family." Emily stayed quiet, but I knew it stung, me being the one who could. I'd never thought it mattered until I realized how expensive envy becomes when it's dressed up as love. Both girls were talented. Everyone said it. Maybe that's why Mom decided to level the playing field. I remembered how twice in the past year Chloe had gotten sick right before competitions, once with a stomachache, another time dizzy, weak, barely able to stand. It passed by morning, and we never went to the doctor. We thought it was something she ate. Bad luck, stress, maybe nerves. Even Grandma's tea hadn't helped. And then I remembered our last conversation. I'd turned down Mom's request for money, said the costume for Chloe had been pricey. She'd gotten offended, said, "Right." Now, everything goes to the stage. At the time, I laughed it off. Now those words sounded like a warning I'd ignored. I kept trying to shake off the thought, tell myself it was an accident, just mixed up herbs. But when an accident happens twice, it stops being coincidence. Chloe's certificate was still on the table. Winner, Road to the Stars. I looked at it and thought, she really was on her way to the stars, just not in the way she'd dreamed. Late that night, I lay in bed staring at the ceiling. I kept seeing Mom's pale face, her hands on that cup, and the doctor's voice. "For a child, it could have been very dangerous." I didn't know what to do with that. Call the police? Ridiculous. She's my mother. But somewhere deep inside, anger was starting to thaw. Not the loud kind, cold, steady, the kind that makes you finally act. By morning, the world looked the same. Kitchen, kettle, fridge. But now I knew my family was capable of pouring poison into a child's cup and calling it care. From that day on, I couldn't drink tea anymore. Not with honey. Not without... 2 days later, they discharged my mom. I told everyone I was going over to help around the house. In reality, I was checking up on her. I already had the lab report. Concentration of sedative compound unsafe for children. Polite phrasing always sounds worse than the blunt version. The house was quiet in that familiar, heavy way. Mom looked okay, just a shade paler than usual. I offered to make lunch. She waved me off. "Don't bother," she said, and went to the bedroom. When the door closed, I finally let myself look around. Not as a daughter this time, more like someone who knows there's a secret in the room. I started going through the kitchen shelves. There it was, the same unmarked jar I'd seen before. I opened it. Not tea. A dark powder with a sharp chemical smell. Not pharmacy, more like metal dust mixed with herbs. I scooped a little into a plastic bag I'd brought with me. Felt ridiculous, like a detective in jeans. "What are you doing?" Her voice came from the doorway, and I almost dropped the jar. I turned. She stood there in her robe, eyes flat. "Taking a sample," I said. "I want to know what this is." "Why?" "Because the tea you made for Chloe, and accidentally drank yourself, sent you to the hospital. They found something dangerous in it." I slipped the bag into my pocket, pulled the lab report from my purse, and placed it on the table. She looked at it, skimmed a line or two, snorted. "Nonsense." They love finding danger in everything. I use the same herbs as everyone: chamomile, linden, honey. "Chamomile doesn't put people in the hospital," I said. She looked at the jar, then back at me. "You really think I did this on purpose?" "Jesus, Anna, I probably mixed up the jars. I have dozens. I can barely see the labels. You think I wanted to poison my own granddaughter?" "I don't think anything," I said. "I just want to know what's in that jar." I lifted it again and felt the bottom stick to my palm, some leftover glue. Under the shelf lay a torn label. I held it to the jar. The edges matched. "Oh, look!" "Here's the label," I said. "Want to read what it says?" I read aloud. "Not for children. For external use only." So yeah, not exactly chamomile. Someone had washed the jar, scrubbed off the sticker, and parked it here with the rest of the herbs. I took out my phone and snapped a photo. Mom watched, face dark. "You're paranoid," she said. "These labs call everything toxic. They don't know half of what they're talking about." She grabbed the jar, turned it in her hands. "Why assume I used this one?" she snapped. "And even if I did, it's probably for joints or something. I don't remember." She dropped the report onto the table between us. It landed like a wall. "You could have just asked." "No, you had to turn this into a circus." I didn't answer. Right then the doorbell rang. Mom went to open it. Emily walked in with a bag of fruit, all concern and fake brightness. "Mom, how are you feeling?" "Alive," Mom said dryly. "Your sister thinks I'm a murderer." Emily's smile froze. She turned to me. "What's going on?" "Taking a sample," I said, "to find out what this powder actually is. Here, read this." I handed her the lab report. "That's what they found in the tea Mom made for Chloe." Emily skimmed it way too fast, barely pretending to read, then looked up, already defensive. "Anna, seriously?" "It's just herbs. Mom buys everything from the pharmacy." She said it too easily, too rehearsed, like someone who already knew the story. "Exactly," Mom jumped in. "Everything's store-bought, all natural. I just got the jars mixed up." "Right," Emily nodded quickly. "You know how she is. She's got a million of those." I looked at them both. 2 women, same fear, different masks. Mom was protecting herself. Emily was protecting the illusion of a family. "Fine," I said. "Let the lab decide. If it's harmless, Great Mom shot up from her chair. And if it's not? Then I made a mistake. I'm old, Anna. It happens. But accusing your own mother of wanting to hurt a child, that's cruel. I'm not accusing anyone, I said. I just don't want anyone drinking from your thermoses again. Do what you want, she said, turning away. Just don't be surprised when there's no family left. Emily put a hand on her shoulder. Mom, don't get upset. It's bad for you. Then she turned that same disapproving look on me. How can you treat her like this? She just got out of the hospital. I looked at Mom, pale, trembling, and at Emily, holding her like a bodyguard in a family drama no one asked for. I'm really sorry this is happening to us, I said. And for a second, I almost believed them. Maybe they were right. Maybe I was overreacting. Mom could have mixed up the jars, the doses. Her eyesight's bad. Her hands shake. It happens. People make mistakes. Maybe this whole thing really was a stupid accident and I just spun it into something monstrous in my head. I wanted to believe them so badly, because they're my family, because I still loved them in some way. And just when I started forgiving myself for overreacting, I reached for my purse and knocked over a stack of newspapers on the windowsill. They hit the floor with a slap, and something thin slid out from underneath, a small notebook with a worn cover. I bent down to pick it up, and Mom's voice cut through the air, sharp, panicked. Don't touch that! It's mine. Give it back! She sounded too scared. I opened the notebook where a bookmark was sticking out, read a few lines, and froze. 3 dates. I knew them by heart. The dates of Chloe's big dance competitions over the past year. The last one, just recently, Road to the Stars. The other 2? The exact days Chloe got sick and couldn't perform. Lily had won both times. Next to each date, numbers that looked like doses, followed by Mom's handwriting. Notes about timing and effects. Given the evening, stomach next day. Given the morning, weakness, dizziness, last 24 hours. And under the most recent one, before performance, sleepiness. That one hit hardest. Because Mom had offered Chloe tea that morning, not at home, but right before the show backstage. What is this? I whispered. My voice barely worked. Mom reached for the notebook. Those are my recipes. Notes for herbal blends, so I remember how they work. I shook the open page in front of her. And these lines? These exact days when Chloe was sick? What's that? She glanced once and snapped. You're imagining things. Those notes have nothing to do with Chloe. I was just trying to help the girls. I'd had enough. Help? You wanted to help Lily a little more, didn't you? You gave Chloe tea that made her sick so Lily could win. I turned to Emily. You knew, didn't you? Mom clutched her chest, gasping. Oh, I don't feel well, she said weakly, looking at Emily. She's accusing us of God knows what. Stop it, Emily snapped, grabbing Mom's arm and steering her toward the couch. You're insane, Anna. We didn't do anything. Then she lunged at me, trying to snatch the notebook. Give it here! I dodged. No, I'm taking this to someone who can actually read what it means. They both glared at me. Rage, fear, guilt, all tangled together. You're going to the police? Against your own mother? Emily hissed. I don't know, I said honestly. Depends on what they find in that stuff you fed my child. Mom sank onto the couch. You twist everything, she said, her voice hollow. I never meant harm. I just wanted everyone to be happy. I miscalculated, that's all. She started crying, quietly. No theatrics, just the sound of air breaking. Emily stood beside her, white-knuckling her purse strap. Please, she said, don't do anything rash. Let's just talk. We've talked, I said. Now I need answers. I slipped the notebook into my bag and met Mom's eyes. I'm not accusing you, I said. I just won't let your accidents happen on schedule anymore. Then I left. The next day, I brought the sample back to the hospital lab, told them it was related to the earlier case. They promised results the next morning. They called right on time. "It's the same compound we found in the tea," the doctor said. "Very dangerous for a child in higher doses." I thanked him, no questions. Just asked for the report. After that, it wasn't my job anymore. It was the police's. Let them figure out exactly how much danger my family had poured into my daughter's cup. I gathered everything, the reports, the photos, the notebook, Mom's planner, and went to the station. The officer on duty looked about 50, with the kind of calm only people who've seen too much can pull off. He listened, flipped through the papers, and said they'd investigate. On my way out, I noticed my hands were shaking. Not from fear, from disgust. At people, at bloodlines, at everything that's supposed to protect you, and instead becomes the threat. That night, Chloe asked if she could visit Grandma. "No," I said. "Grandma's busy." "With what?" "Sorting her herbs." She nodded, satisfied, and went back to her cartoons. And I thought, maybe for once, someone in this family really will start sorting things out. Not herbs, conscience. Then I did what I should have done long ago. I shut my wallet. No drama, no speeches. Just cold, methodical clicks in my online banking app. Canceled the monthly pension top-ups, the utility payments, the extra health insurance auto pay. I didn't tell her anything. When the money stopped showing up, she'd figure it out. The calls started a few days later, right after she'd been summoned for questioning. Her tone was sharp, hysterical. "What are you doing? How could you call the police on your own mother? This is absurd. I would never hurt Chloe on purpose. Do you want me to die in prison?" "Mom," I said evenly, "Chloe got sick twice before big competitions." "I just want specialists to figure out why you're ungrateful," she whispered dramatically. "Good thing your father isn't alive to see this shame." "And the money. Did you stop the transfers?" "Yes." "Fine." Her whisper snapped into a shriek. "I don't need anything from you. You'll be sorry. They drag me in for interrogations. My nerves can't take it. If I get sick and die, you'll know it's your fault." Then came Emily. Same pitch, different voice. "Take it back. Withdraw the complaint. You're sending our mother to jail. She's old. She'll die there." There was no remorse in their words, no doubt. Just panic. Not for Mom's soul, for their comfort. All I heard was, "Take it back, take it back, take it back." But I couldn't unsee what I'd already seen. The investigation crawled. Mom wasn't arrested, just signed a no-travel agreement. Detectives kept circling the same questions. "When did you first notice the child feeling ill?" "Any witnesses from previous incidents?" It felt like nothing was moving, and the calls never stopped. Mom and Emily took turns, yelling, pleading, calling me ungrateful, threatening that I'd have to live with this. I answered less and less, then not at all. 10 days later, the investigator called. "The case has been reclassified," he said. "From accidental poisoning to intentional harm to a minor." "Why?" "What changed?" I asked, not expecting an answer. He wasn't supposed to tell me, confidentiality and all that, but he hesitated, then said, "Your mother admitted she gave Chloe the substance on purpose, as a sedative. Said the kid didn't need those dance competitions anyway, and shouldn't get so worked up." He paused, probably waiting for me to react. I couldn't. There was just a hum in my head. "She tried to walk it back later," he went on. "Said she misspoke, mixed up the jars. But words are words." "Now it's a criminal case." "She really said that?" I finally managed to croak. My voice didn't feel like mine. "Not needed?" "For who?" "Lily." "She didn't name anyone," he said quickly. Then softer. "Look, I've already told you more than I should." "Thank you for telling me," I whispered. He paused again. "I'm sorry," he said, and hung up. I sat there with the phone in my hand, staring into nothing. It hurt. Maybe because deep down, I'd still been hoping it was a mistake. Mixed up jars, poor eyesight, anything but intent. But once he said it out loud, once I knew she'd confessed, it all collapsed inside me. The worst thing I'd feared turned out to be true. My mother had wanted to hurt my child. Even the investigator, someone who'd probably seen it all, had felt sorry for me. The rest went fast. The trial wrapped up 3 months later. The prosecutor pushed for real time, but Mom's age and fragile health bought her 2 years probation and an order to stay away from Chloe. Emily walked free. No solid proof she'd been involved. A year's gone by since. Mom lives alone now, sick, broke, angry at the world. Emily and Lily live separately. They fight a lot. The neighbors talk. I heard Lily quit dancing. Emily blames me for everything. Chloe and I don't talk to any of them. We're doing fine. She's dancing again, laughing again, believing that life doesn't always have a catch. Sometimes I watch her spinning in front of the mirror and think, maybe this is what happiness really looks like. Just a kid alive and smiling. Once in a while, I look at an old photo, Mom holding Emily's hand in one, mine in the other. There's still warmth there. The past doesn't vanish, it just stops breathing the same air as you. But there are no jars of herbs in my house anymore, and no tea either. So tell me, did I do the right thing? Should I have taken it all the way to court, or just forgiven and moved on? What would you have done in my place? Leave a comment. And if this story hit you, subscribe. There are plenty more true ones coming.